Hello everybody, this is Rakesh Reddy. I got 219 rank in this civil service examination. I'm expecting IPS. Today I wanted to share my strategy of preparing to civil service examination and how my mentor Venkata Mohan sir has helped me through his teaching. I wanted to focus on two areas. One is mains preparation, another interview preparation. So I'll divide it into two parts. Coming to mains, now I'll tell how I devised my strategy. There are two premises based on which I have devised my strategy. One is we don't know about the expertise and the depth of knowledge of evaluators. So whoever evaluates our paper, we don't know what all areas they are aware of. If it is a general studies paper or if it is a essay paper, there are different aspects in that paper like economy, science and technology, all are clubbed in there. So you don't know, the person who is evaluating might be aware in good in one aspect and might not be good in other aspects. So my understanding from this logic is that we should present the answer in such a way that even a layman should understand our answer. So many times what I when I interacted with friends, what I realized is that they try to, out of the excitement of seeing the question, they try to put the question in a high level platform. Instead of addressing the basics, they try to put the recent issues of that question or the advanced aspects related in that question rather than addressing the basic question. So what helped me here is I try to address the question in a very basic manner so that it is put in a clear and clear manner. So then the next level is, if you have knowledge on that topic, then try to address whatever came in the newspapers about that topic or the solutions to that issue which is being asked. So that can be the next level. Because what I have seen is the UPSC has been ruthless in terms of evaluation these days, that you can see based on the cutoffs that are decreasing, lower marks being evaluated. So this is because people who could not understand the question and write all other aspects which are not related to question, they are being treated with absolute ruthlessness. So they might be discarded even while evaluating that answer. So understanding the question scope is very much important, what I felt is. Second aspect is what constitutes the ideal answer for evaluators. Nobody knows it. So definitely there might be some X, Y, Z parameters which the evaluator is seeing in you. So logically, if you want to remove that subjectivity and put it in an objective manner, then what each and everyone has to do is, we should address the various dimensions of that question, provided that you don't deviate from the scope of that question. So address various dimensions of it rather than addressing one dimension and then going in depth in various points in the same dimension. Address different dimensions so that you negate that subjectivity which is being created because of evaluator who has some fixed answer in his mind and you're not able to meet that answer. So that part is cleared out. So these two basic things I realized. One is covering the fundamentals of the concept very clearly and presenting it in a crystal clear manner, then advanced topics, and then putting it in different dimensions, all within the scope of that question. So here the approach of sir has helped me a lot. In which way it has helped is, sir always starts classes with an intent of questioning everything. So he starts questioning each and everything in you, so that itself widens your base. So when you start questioning everything, because there are so many prejudices, there are so many myths surrounded with us in each and every person. There are, strong opinions each and every person will have based on their upbringing or some other factors. And we tend to think in that way only because of our conditioning. So how sir's approach helped is, he has shattered all those myths initially. It happened with me and it happened with everybody who were students of the sirs. So he has given an alternative perspective to each and everything, and he started questioning everything, why. So it is then when your base gets widened. So the first aspect of explaining things in a very fundamental basic manner came from this. And the second aspect is covering various dimensions. Obviously, when he starts to address the things in various ways and gives alternative perspectives also, naturally the scope of the limited thinking which you had, that scope is actually widened now. You have various dimensions, you have various angles to think about a particular topic. So these two are the major advantages which I thought got from sir's teaching, because his level of teaching has always helped us to think in our own way, and see the question in a larger perspective than just focusing on the narrow perspective of that question. Many times when I interacted with students, I often heard that there is some pessimism in it. They say that UPSC has been unpredictable and there is a lot of luck in that. I beg to differ with this opinion. There might be luck in some areas, that too, especially it might come in interview with the subjectivity or the kind of stress interviews they're doing. So other than that, and even that kind of thinking would not help even our cause also. So our basic approach has to be to decode UPSC as much as possible, understand what UPSC is asking, what it wants, and what are the parameters you have, and find out the gap and then try to address it. So my advice for the students is, just don't start reading everything. I mean, you understand what is your strength and what is your weakness, and what is the gap between what UPSC is asking and what you have now presently. So for that, what I advise is, there are only two authentic sources for us for everything to assume these things. One is previous year UPSC question papers, last few years of UPSC question papers. They are available to everybody. Second thing is, once you have written mains, you will get the marks of your mains. So these are the two authentic sources. So from the previous year question papers, you can try to analyze, decode what they want to ask, maybe the trend of it, the pattern of questions, whether they are analytical, whether the factual questions are being asked, and which areas they're covering. So all these things can be analyzed from that previous question paper. And regarding your personal characteristics, you will get to know only once you evaluated by UPSC and you get the answers. So you know when you have written the exam, which paper you have written well, which paper you have not written well. So once the marks are out, the first and foremost thing what I have done in my previous attempts is to sit and then critically analyze my papers. Why in particular papers when I thought I should get good marks, I haven't got it. And if I have got it, are they proportional to what I expected compared to the other papers? If I thought one paper will be extremely well written, so I should get the highest marks in that paper compared to other paper. So this analysis has helped me to understand two things. One is content, whether you're lacking in content, and second thing is answer rating. What I meant by answer rating is all those aspects which I told recently now, covering the basics of the question, giving various dimensions of that question, and then understanding the scope of that question. All these comes under answer rating. So there are only two aspects in this. One is content of question and then answer rating. So you should first understand whether you're lacking in content or in answer rating. Then you should start the real preparation. If you're lacking in content, start reading, widen your base, understand basic concepts, read as many as possible, and then you'll obviously get succeeded. If you're lacking in answer rating, then that's where you have to start analyzing that aspect or correcting that aspect. In the sense, you start showing the paper to somebody whom you know he has performed well, or a sir, maybe sir, who can evaluate and tell what is wrong with that, whether you're addressing the issue properly or not. So these are the things what I felt has to be started for those who start basically exam for the first time also. And that is about mains aspect which I wanted to tell. And definitely I felt, especially in the mains, writing 10 markers is more challenging than writing 60 markers or so, because it is in 10 markers where you have to be very concise, you have to be precise. You should cover various dimensions in a short limited words, because word limit is also has been given in UPSC. So within that limit you have to cover various dimensions and then address the basic issues in a clear manner. So it is a challenge actually. So that is where one should start practicing the 10 markers, writing the 10 markers, and then understanding whether they're able to present it in few words, because that needs clarity in the concept, that depth of your understanding, and also thinking, which is various dimensions. All these are what Venkata Mohan sir classes usually gives to students, that depth of understanding, that clarity, and then the various dimensions for each and every topic, and then think in a different manner, which is an alternative perspective. It could be a radical perspective, it could be something which is shattering your pre-existing notions, but it is an alternative to the existing thinking of or thought. And second comes my interview aspect, which I said. Interview, sir used to say, treat each and every question as a precious opportunity to reveal your personality to the board. So it has been very true, and it has helped me to gain good marks in interview. Like I got to 215 marks in interview this year. So this, what worked for me is for preparing the interview, what I thought important is, because current affairs and other things you've been reading right from prelims, maybe 1 or more years, so you just need to brush on standard opinions or the recent newspaper articles. But major thing is work out on your hobbies, whatever you kept your hobbies, and think what are the good aspects which you want to showcase from your side to the board. That is the strong areas of you, which you feel like your work area, or it could be your personality aspect which is strong for you. So you start showing it to the board. And how to start is, I have started in the sense that start writing hobbies. My hobby was reading books, especially based on spirituality, and then vipassana meditation. So I started working out various questions, like what probable questions they can ask, and then the supplementary questions even too. Like if there is a question, then if they ask the second continuation question, or if they negate this question, how the conversation can be taken ahead. And I have already said you that identify the strong areas. So while I was in service, I have worked in Defence Estate Service, and I have done some initiatives which I thought I should project it to the board. So these are the things I already know that these are my strong areas. One is philosophy or spirituality, and then the work I have done. So I try to take each question which came and see if it is linked to that aspect. Then try to add this topic also voluntarily, even if they ask or not. So it is in a way you're taking control of the interview, and you are channelizing the interview in a manner that your positives are being being displayed before the board, because you hardly get 15-20 minutes, and it's very difficult and nearly impossible to understand the personality of a person even by an expert board like them in hard 10-15 minutes. So it is on you to showcase your skills, show them why you're special and what good qualities you have, and why you are better than others. So all these things you have to project yourself, rather than they asking and then getting it from you. So you should be proactive in that approach, and that has helped me in interview. The other thing is, like especially for students of maybe Venkata Mohan sir, I'll just take an example with respect to mains actually. Maybe whatever I told in the terms of basics, then the various dimensions, coverage and all those things. I'll just take one question which I've written in ethics. Maybe ethics I got 104 marks. I've just prepared only Venkata Mohan sir's classes which he has taught on ethics. There's nothing else I have prepared. And prepared notes listening to his classes on my own, and then revised it before going to exam. So this is what my preparation had been for ethics. And I'll just take an example and how I've written answers to it, so that it can be clear what I have said earlier. Because each and every question I've seen it as a mini essay, because essay is what is critical paper in the mains exam, where you need to understand the scope of that question being asked, cover various dimensions, write in a logical constructive manner. So all these things are much needed in essay, but what I felt is like each and every question has to be treated like a mini essay, and then you have to write the answer in such a way. Suppose there's a question here in ethics paper, they have given some quotations from moral thinkers and philosophers and asked you to what it means to you in the present context. Suppose there's a question, I count him braver who overcomes his desires than him who overcomes his enemies. This is a statement given by Aristotle. So I don't exactly remember what I written, but I remember the structure. What I have written is like, how I started is how the enemies come actually. So there are enemies for you, and it all starts by your thought process. There is no enemy as such existing there. It is what your thought process that makes the other person as enemy. So even if you try to overcome these enemies, and then in the next phase of your life, maybe you can encounter new enemies also. So it is all coming from the thought process. So what I said is, instead of seeing a person who just overcomes his enemies, the external environment is not the person who is actually braver, but who is brave in the sense, who is more braver is who overcomes his own desires. So here I try to link Buddha's concept, where his endeavor was to overcome this vicious cycle of desire, which causes all these sorrows and other problems. And so I try to link saying that his philosophy has also tried to preach this, which says that understanding oneself and then overcoming getting control on one's own emotions and desires is what is more important and has to be the pursuit of life in terms of Buddha. And that is where I address in other aspect of it. Then coming to other dimension, what I added is, in the present context, how is it relevant is, I have taken the concept of emotional intelligence. what emotional intelligence effectively says is you have control over your emotions and others' emotions, and you can perceive your own changes in the emotions. So this is one way of controlling your desires, your emotions. All comes under as emotional intelligence, and research in psychology and science has told us that emotional intelligence is a very important factor in, rather than the other normal factors of intelligence which were thought to be superior earlier. So this way I have related it to the present context also. So I mean, it is just a general example where I tried to thought that in the question when they asked about desires and then the enemies, I started to answer that in a basic manner, saying that who are enemies and how they come, and how desires have to be tackled better than enemies. So that is one basic way. Added a dimension which is emotional intelligence to the this thing, and then related it to, I think, a quote maybe saying from Buddha. I don't remember what quote I used, but explained it how Buddha has seen it in the relevance. So this is the way I try to write answers for most of the questions, thinking it as a mini essay thing. So finally, what I wanted to say is like, I believe, I mean, each child has that curiosity in him, but unfortunately as we grow up, we tend to lose that aspect of curiosity or that skepticism which each and every child used to have. So what more than exam, what helped me sir's teaching is to raise that curiosity, that lost curiosity, to regain that lost curiosity and that skepticism. I have regained them, I mean, through the classes of sir. So he has, through his way of teaching and changing that thinking pattern, which is skewed towards one or other thing only, it has helped me to start questioning each and everything and then think of one aspect in various dimensions. So it has helped me to regain that curiosity or that skepticism, and that is the biggest contribution of sir's classes. So more than exam, it has helped me to evolve as a better person in life too. So thank you everybody for listening to me, and hope it was helpful. Thank you and all the best.